Hey everybody, it's Deacon Tim coming to you live from the Tinker Catholic Student Center at UT Dallas here in the Tinker Library. Focusing tonight on a conversation with Rohit and Brooklyn. Now, Brooklyn, you may have seen in one of our other videos, came into the church at our Easter Vigil. Rohit was her sponsor. So, tell me, Rohit, a little bit about what it was like to go through the OCIA program with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, by the way, disclosed in another video that she asks a lot of questions.
I mean, yeah. There's 50% of my answer. She asks a lot of questions. But it's great because I get to be there, for that. I get to see her grow in every way. And so it helped me grow. Because, it's like a thing of a parent having a child in the sense of they grow as a person in maturity when they teach their child. I'm not saying I'm a parent anyway. I'm not. But helping Brooklyn has helped me in my own faith in so many ways. I've gotten to really consider, why do I believe what I believe? Do I say do I do what I say in all these things? And so it's really helped me confront my own faith a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm a cradle Catholic, so that means I've always had, the Catholic Church with me since birth. But a lot of that was it's cultural, and I do it because I'm told to. Coming into college, I wanted to actually chase the truth a lot more. Mm-hmm. And so, I did that. But, here especially, I feel like it's where it was, put to the test almost, and where I really got to challenge myself a lot. And then Brooklyn, of course, I'm blessed to have, Brooklyn soak up information so much, so well. She's... and I mean that genuinely. She's always having a notebook with her where she writes down every little thing that you say, and she stars whatever she has a question on, and all these different things. And I'm like, man, I don't remember the last time I put that much effort into my faith, and it's because I don't. Yeah. I wish I did. I should.
Yeah, but as a cradle Catholic, I can relate, right? It was just always there, and there wasn't ever a choice. So, Brooklyn, how did you meet Rohit?
At a little 4th of July, little 4th of July party thing that another a house was holding, and we were playing a game on TV, and he was being irritating, he sat next to me. I didn't know him, and he was being irritating because he could start the game. So he would start it, and it would go 3, 2, 1, and then he would stop it, and he did it multiple times, and he's over here laughing, and I was like, it's not funny, and he's going again. I start laughing, and then we're just the only 2 people laughing in the room. And it's just it was funny to me, it was funny to him, it was funny to nobody else. That's how I met him.
So how did you wind up connecting with him in the Discovering Catholicism sessions?
I saw him at the church the first time I was here. I didn't know he was Catholic, and I was like, oh, he's carrying incense and everything. I didn't know what that was. I was like, what is he doing?
He's big time Catholic.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? And then he invited me to the OCIA sessions and Discovering Catholicism, and then he was there the whole time. So it's just I every single day I was like, you got to sit next to me. And in other words, you got to sit next to me. And I make it a habit. And I'm just I get a little bit mad when he doesn't sit next to me. I'm sit next to me. But just because he's there and he's been through with my walk, he actually walked with me. I get what people mean when they say that now, because he's the one person that I'm yeah, he continuously was
on the journey. Yeah. What is the hardest question you asked that he handled with no problem at all?
Probably when it came to how to deal with people who are that kind of just are against Catholicism, or just who or when I'm in spaces that people are just kind of
anti-Catholicism.
Yeah, and then it's just I don't really want to be there anymore, because I was in those spaces, not anti-Catholicism, but I was just in the spaces with the people, and now that I am wanting to become Catholic, I am Catholic now, and it's just I didn't know what to do, and I was I had a lot of frustration and anger, and it was just I would just throw it at him, and he was calm the whole time. And I know that I had.
And you've had those experiences too, Rohit, right? You've been in lots of spaces in and around the university experience where people don't necessarily understand. How do you minister to folks?
It was a lot of growth. Mm-hmm. I think a big thing to put out there is I didn't start well. I started horribly. I wish I could say I'm not this, but I have a very short temper, I feel. And so it took me a lot of time to get a control of that. And so then I came to college. And then, dealing with these things where it's like you're friends with a person, but then they challenge who you are, like the truth of who you are, so much that like, how can you not get angry? You just want to like, And so it's like, what do you do? And then I realized I'm like, well, as much as I could flip out against them, who would that benefit in the end? I would lose a friendship. They would lose, a chance to maybe learn a little.
Mm-hmm.
There is no gain from there other than a short-term, dopamine flare in my head. And so I've learned very quickly, I'm like, if I want to, deal with these things, the first thing is come at them not with anger, but with love, not with a raised voice, but with just calmness, where I'm like, and then ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, you say this, why? And if they continue, I'm like, whoa, we can discuss this. I will not argue. I will not debate.
Yeah.
We can discuss this.
And that's, I think, accompaniment, discussion, those are, the Catholic Church, the Christian faith is a relational faith, right? It's not a book faith. I mean, and so because I remember you diligently taking notes in the room while we're doing the class, in the kitchen while we're getting water, in the fellowship hall while we're eating. Tell me a little bit about, the point at which it sort of went from here in the head to here in the heart.
Let me think. I think like it was very gradual. Like I was just like learning a bit more and believing a bit more, and it was also like a lot of praying. And I was like, God, give me signs. And, He doesn't really. And I'm like, that was a sign. And I think I was like kind of trying to convince myself that God wanted me to be there.
Yeah.
And then when I stopped convincing myself, there was like a lot of like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I even asked Father Tim, I was like, what do I do? I was like, you want me to be Catholic? And he told me like, no, not necessarily. And I was like, I did not expect that answer. And he was just like, go. Basically, long story short, was just like, go where you feel God more. I don't want you to be here if you're
be where God is. That's right.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, am I feeling God here? And then it was actually Seek, like, which is like what
the conference, right?
Yeah. And then it was like day 3 when they did like the Eucharist, and then it was adoration, and that was the first day where I was like, oh, like that's God right there, like that's Jesus. It was like very intimidating, like walking into the room, like I felt it, and I was like, oh, I almost want to like hide because I'm like, he's right there. So it was just, I think that was like the biggest thing where like, yeah, I'm sure there's no.
So do you think
doubt.
the studying got you to a spot where you could go to Seek and experience it differently?
I think so for sure.
Like the book knowledge matters. It's not unimportant.
Right.
Then you're ready to have that encounter, that relationship. Yeah. I think so. And to your point, Rohit, about your faith growing stronger as you're answering these questions, would you agree that it's sort of that as you challenge those boundaries, something that you may have taken for granted all your life becomes something more tangible for you?
I mean, yeah, I think it's, a simple thing of like, why does the sun come up in the morning? Oh, it's because of this and this. And as your kid, it's like, oh, it's because we orbit the sun, and simple answers. And then like you come to the morning, it's like, okay, why do we experience all this stuff? And then you experience like, oh, you have ozone layers and how the water, water in the air reflects light. It's like, it helps you learn more. And so when I get challenged, I'm like, why is it that Mary is so important to me and the faith? I'm like, yeah, there's an easy answer. Well, she is the mother of God. Right? But then they're like, but there's so much more to it.
Right.
Right? It's not just that. Like, what does it mean to be a mother?
Well, in this understanding, this concept of faith-seeking understanding, right, which is how we're called to live out our faith, is to grow deeper in it. I think you're right. I think we ask questions, and then we're prepared for like the next level, right? Whatever the next level is, I think Brooklyn. One of the things I'm excited for you is, as excited as you are right now, it's nothing compared to how excited you can be a day from now, 10 days from now, etc. If you keep asking those questions and growing. I think the number one challenge we have is that we can become complacent, right? It becomes real easy, especially in our worship space where we do kind of know the parts, right? You could get into a rut real easily, but when you realize the creed that you're praying and what those words mean, that the gospel is coming alive as it is proclaimed, that Jesus Christ is truly present in the Eucharist. It's a new liturgy every time, right? So okay, you've got 10 seconds with somebody who's got a question about the Catholic Church. What's the one truth you leave them with? If you had to sum up the Catholic Church I'm going to start with Rohit because his eyes got big, but you've been Catholic longer than Brooklyn. So if you had one truth that you had to leave somebody with, what would it be?
Jesus?
Yeah.
Jesus is the answer to everything, right?
Jesus is God's complete and total revelation of himself before man, right? Okay, so you can't use Jesus. What's your answer, Brooklyn?
Sorry.
I'll use it again. It's similar. It's just like yeah, you can find Jesus in a lot of places, but like you can't find him in the same way anywhere else.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, there's nothing. That's right. There's nothing that compares to Jesus in the Eucharist.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight on Tinker Veritas. We'll be coming to you soon from the Tinker Library with more stories just like Brooklyn and Rohit. Thank you, guys.